Family story that has been around my family that describes the relationship between my brothers and I will be on the way back from one of our family trips. Our trip consisted of our whole family, my two brothers, Cody and Nick, and our parents going to see our grandparents in Portland, Oregon. At the time, my family had a black Chevy Suburban to haul all of us around in, to and from sports, or to the grocery store. Most of the time, when we would all ride along together, someone had to call dibs on being able to lay down along the back row of seats, making that the most ideal, but also the most dangerous spot. I considered it the most dangerous spot because only one seat slid forward to allow you to even get in the back row, making it the job of whoever was sitting in the sliding seat to let you in and out of the Suburban's back seat. On this trip home from staying with my grandparents for about a week, my middle brother Nick decided he would call dibs and lay out in the back seat. My oldest brother Cody, he sat in the sliding seat behind the passenger side of the SUV behind my mom, while I sat behind the driver, who at the time was my dad since I was the smallest and didn't need as much legroom. It made it so anytime Nick wanted to get out of the car, it was up for Cody to let him do so. Nick at the time was a very active athlete who was also prone to having his muscles cramp up depending on how he was sitting and positioned. Unfortunate for Nick, his typical cramping decided to happen all of a sudden, and Cody was going to have some fun with him. Now, this is where the story starts. We had just got done putting gas in the Suburban and pulled out of the driveway of the gas station when Nick started screaming he had a cramp in his legs. Immediately, my dad had pulled into the driveway of a hotel right next to the gas station to let my brother out so he could stretch his legs and relieve the cramp. When we stopped in the hotel's parking lot, Nick was still screaming about how bad his cramp was, but when he tried to slide the seat forward to get out, Cody wasn't letting him. Cody decided to not move and let Nick keep screaming in the back seat over the cramp. The part of the story that describes my family is that all of us were laughing at this joke Cody was pulling on Nick. I was dying laughing, watching my brother scream to let him out, and my mom was outside the car trying to hold back laughter as Cody sat there not budging. My dad even let out a few chuckles while Nick was yelling at Cody. After some profanity was used, eventually Nick was let out of the back seat and found himself lying on the ground, having his legs stretched out by our mom. Cody and I were both outside the car at this point, dying laughing, along with our mom laughing a little bit with our dad, and Nick on the ground almost crying from the cramps. Once Nick's cramping episode was all over, he was not talking to any of us. While we all thought it was funny, he didn't think so as much and sat in the back of the car, not saying a word for the rest of the trip. Now, most families wouldn't find humor in that, but I think that is one story that definitely can describe our family's sense of humor.